Founded in 861, Bulgaria is one of the oldest states in Europe with over 1,329 years of history. It is equally one of the only states to have preserved its original name, ethnic identity, religion, and culture despite its turbulent past. As a matter of fact, Bulgaria faced several major oppressions. The most prominent one was between 1396 and 1878 by the Ottoman Empire. Known as the Turkish yoke, this occupation lasted nearly 5 centuries. It was a dark time for the Bulgarian people. Having lost both their national and ecclesiastical independence, many of the Bulgarian citizens were forced to convert to Islam and join the Ottoman Empire. It was only in 1878 that the Bulgarians restored their national state, thanks to the Russians. Having lost the Russo-Turkish War from 1877 to 1878, the Turks had no choice but to sign the Treaty of San Stefano, in which they recognized Bulgaria's independence. In 1887, Bulgaria finally established a democratic governmental system. Ferdinand I, a noble from an Austro-Hungarian background, became the country's ruler. In 1915, he led the Bulgarian people into the First World War, alongside the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians. Bulgaria was quickly defeated by the Allied forces in Greece in the fall of 1918. In consequence, Bulgaria lost much of its territory.
During that same year, Boris III, the son of Ferdinand I, became Bulgaria's new ruler. He was strongly admired by the entire population. Boris promised to stay neutral during World War II. However, in March of 1941, he formed an alliance with the Axis powers in order to recover lands such as Macedonia and Yugoslavia, lands that Bulgaria had lost in the past wars. Although Bulgaria was now allied with the German armies, Boris continuously refused to fully participate in the war. He never sent any troops off to fight. He simply allowed Nazis to pass through the country by train in order to reach Greece. In 1943, Nazi officials requested that Bulgaria send its Jewish population to concentration camps in Poland. At the time, there were nearly 50,000 Jews living in the country. Once again, Boris simply refused to cooperate. He did not believe in Hitler's anti-Semite ideology. To top it all off, Boris declined Hitler's orders to declare war on Russia and to send troops to the country's eastern front. How could he attack the same nation that had freed his people from the Turkish yoke? On August 28, 1943, Boris died of heart failure hours after returning home from Berlin. Many believe that he was poisoned by Hitler, who was frustrated with his failure to cooperate. Boris succeeded by his 6-year-old son, Simeon II. On September 5, 1944, more than a year later, the Russians declared war on Bulgaria. They invaded the country without any resistance whatsoever from the Bulgarian army. The population greeted the Soviets warmly. Within 3 days, the entire country was occupied and the Bulgarians joined the Soviet Union against the Germans. On September 9, 1944, communism was set in place in Bulgaria. Georgy Dimitrov became the country's new leader. This was the beginning of a new era for the country.
Gueorgui Tanev was born in 1916 to a poor family living in Sofia. His parents, Hristo and Elisaveta, worked as gardeners for the King of Bulgaria, Ferdinand I. Being the firstborn of 5 sons, all the family's money was invested in his education, while his siblings were forced to work in the fields. Gueorgui received the finest schooling money could afford. He attended a French high school, followed by an American college. At the age of 24, he graduated from a prestigious Italian university. Having received outstanding grades and speaking 6 languages fluently, his future seemed bright and prosperous. After graduating, he was immediately hired in 1939 as the head of the Bank of Italy in Bulgaria. All his hard work and hours of studying had finally paid off. He was warmly accepted by his peers and was making a steady income that allowed him to support himself as well as his family. Meanwhile, the Nazi influence was becoming more and more present in Bulgaria. Tanev strongly opposed all Nazi ideology, as well as the reign of Tsar Boris. He believed Bulgaria did not belong in the hands of the Germans. He then joined the socialist movement in hopes of stopping the Axis' invasion. However, in 1941, German army moved in to occupy the country. Men were forced to join the Nazi to invade Romania. Tanev was devastated. He felt he could no longer stand by and watch the German soldiers slowly take over his country. His mind was made up. He would quit his job at the Bank of Italy and join a group of guerrilla fighters. He and his comrades decided to seek refuge in the mountains, where they hid from German authorities. They relied on local people in the village to provide them with food and clothing. The guerrillas spent their days organizing attacks on the Nazi armies, sabotaging their plans. They would bombard trains, cut electrical wires, and send false messages to the enemy.